My husband emptied our daughter's college savings and disappeared with his lover. I was shattered until our 12-year-old grinned and said, Mom, don't stress. I took care of it." Days later, he called, yelling. After finding out what she'd done, I walked into our bedroom to find David shoving clothes into a duffel bag. No words, no glance my way, just hurried movements like he was escaping a disaster. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice barely steady. He didn't even pause. "I'm doing what I should have done years ago." His words slammed into me, sharp and heavy. 22 years of marriage, and this was the end. Him cramming socks into a bag while I stood there in my nightgown, utterly blindsided. "David, stop." I reached for his arm, but he pulled away like I was nothing. "Talk to me. What's happening?" When he finally looked at me, his eyes were empty, no remorse, no pain, just a cold resolve. "I'm leaving, Rachel. Today." Before I go on, I want to thank you for joining me in sharing stories about safeguarding our loved ones. If you believe kids deserve a secure future, please consider subscribing. It's free and helps us reach more families who need to hear this. Now, let's see what Lily found out. The room tilted around me. This wasn't real. Just last night, we'd been talking about Lily's college applications over pizza. Last night, he'd brushed a kiss on my cheek before bed. Last night, I was still his wife, not whatever I was turning into now. Is there someone else? The question slipped out before I could stop it. David froze, a sweater half folded in his hands. For a moment, I thought I saw a flicker of something. Guilt, maybe. Then it vanished. This isn't about anyone else. It's about me needing to live again. But I knew better. The way he avoided my gaze, the way his phone was always face down lately, the work dinners that stretched past midnight. I'd buried those suspicions for months, but now they roared to life. "Where are you going?" My voice sounded fragile, small. "I'll sort it out," he said, zipping the bag shut with a sound that felt final. "I need you to transfer my share of the savings to my account." That's when dread hit me like a wave. The money, Lily's college fund, our joint accounts, everything we'd built. I stumbled downstairs, my bare feet slapping the cold wood floor. Lily looked up from her toast, her 12-year-old face creasing with worry. "Mom, what's wrong?" "Nothing, sweetie. Dad's just going away for a bit." The lie burned my throat. I grabbed my laptop, hands trembling, and logged into our bank accounts. The screen loaded, and my heart stopped. Our checking account, $192.47. Our savings, $0. Lily's college fund, the one we'd nurtured for 12 years, the one that should have held $80,000, $0. "No," I whispered, refreshing the page. The numbers stared back, unchanged. The transaction history showed the truth. 3 days ago, while I was at my knitting group, David had drained it all. Not just his half, not just our shared savings, but Lily's future. My hand shook so badly I could hardly type. I called the bank, desperate for a glitch, a mistake. The representative's calm voice confirmed the worst. David had full access. The transfers were legal. "Mom?" Lily's voice cut through the fog, distant but sharp. "You're freaking me out." I looked at my daughter, really looked. She stood there in her school uniform, brown hair tied back, backpack slung by the door. She had no clue her father had just stolen her dreams and walked out the door. The sound of footsteps on the stairs made us both turn. David appeared, hauling his duffel bag behind him. He brushed past us like we were part of the decor, heading straight for the front door. That's it. My voice came out sharper than I expected, fueled by 22 years of shared history. You're just walking away? He froze, hand on the doorknob. I left you a message explaining everything, he muttered, not turning around. I don't want a message. I want you to face your daughter and tell her why you're abandoning her. Lily rose slowly from the kitchen table. No tears, no rush to hug him, no pleading. She just fixed him with those sharp, knowing eyes, so much like his own. David glanced at her for a fleeting moment, maybe 2 seconds. You'll get it when you're older, he said, his tone flat. Then he looked at me. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. The door clicked shut behind him, a soft sound that echoed louder than a slam. Lily and I stood in the quiet kitchen, the only sounds the ticking clock and the faint hum of the fridge. Outside, a car engine roared to life and faded into the distance. Is he coming back? Lily's voice was steady, but her question hung heavy. I wanted to soften the truth, to say he just needed space, but her gaze told me she already knew. I don't think so, sweetheart. She nodded, absorbing it like she did everything else, thoughtfully, deliberately. Did he take our money? Her question caught me off guard. How could she know to ask? Some of it, I said cautiously. My college fund, too? I couldn't speak. I just nodded. Lily picked up her toast plate and carried it to the sink. She washed it, dried it, and set it neatly in the cupboard. Then she turned to me with an expression I'd never seen on her young face, resolute, almost fierce. Mom, don't worry. I handled it. The words were so calm, so certain, I almost laughed. Handled what? She was 12. What could she have done? But her confidence wasn't childish bravado. It was something deeper, like she held a secret I couldn't grasp. What do you mean, honey? Lily slung her backpack over her shoulder and headed for the door. I'll miss my bus if I don't go. We'll talk after school, okay? And just like that, she was gone, leaving me in a house that felt too big, too quiet, with questions piling up like unopened mail. That first week without David, the house felt strange, not just empty, but like it was holding its breath. I'd break down at odd moments, folding his forgotten t-shirts, spotting his favorite mug in the dishwasher, hearing Lily's alarm clock through the walls each morning. But Lily? She glided through our broken world like nothing had changed. Every day at 7:10, she'd appear in the kitchen, dressed for school, backpack zipped, lunch packed. She'd kiss my cheek and chirp, "Have a great day, Mom," in the same bright tone she'd used when we were still whole. It unnerved me. Are you okay, sweetheart? I asked one morning, catching her wrist gently as she headed out. Her dark eyes met mine, steady and serious. I'm fine, Mom. Are you? I wasn't fine. I was unraveling, but I couldn't burden her with that. Just checking on you. She squeezed my hand. I know. But I'm really okay. That night, I called my sister, Karen, for advice. As the phone rang, I heard Lily upstairs, the rapid tap-tap-tap of her keyboard drifting through the floorboards. I figured she was venting to friends online, processing the way kids do now. Rachel, how are you holding up? Karen's voice was warm, worried. I don't know, I admitted, collapsing onto the couch. Lily's so composed, but I'm scared she's hiding her pain. She hasn't shed a single tear. Kids cope differently, Karen said. When Dad left, you sobbed for weeks, but I just got mad and smashed Mom's old lamp. The typing upstairs stopped abruptly, then started again, faster, almost urgent. "What's that noise?" Karen asked. "Lily's on her computer," I said. "Probably homework or chatting." But something about the rhythm felt off, too deliberate for casual texting or games. After hanging up, I made Lily's favorite dinner, mac and cheese with a side of apple slices. I knocked on her door at 6:45. "Come in," she called. I pushed the door open, balancing her dinner tray. Lily was at her desk, her laptop screen tilted away from me. She snapped it shut as I entered. "I brought you dinner, honey." "Thanks, Mom." She took the tray, avoiding my eyes. "You can set it on my nightstand." As I did, I glanced at her desk, scattered papers, her planner, a math textbook. Nothing unusual, but the way everything was arranged felt staged, like she'd set it up for my benefit. "What are you working on?" I asked lightly. "History project on the Civil War," she said, reopening her laptop. But before she minimized the window, I caught a glimpse, not a school document, but something that looked like a messaging app. "Need help?" "I'm good. Thanks for dinner." Her tone was polite but firm, a clear dismissal. I kissed her forehead and left, a knees curling in my chest. Over the next few days, the pattern held. Lily kept her perfect routine while I sank deeper into grief and confusion. I'd wake at 2 a.m. Heart racing, checking our bank accounts, calling David's number only to hear his voicemail. Meanwhile, Lily emerged each morning calm and collected. The typing continued every night, sometimes until 11 p.m. On Friday, while putting away her clean clothes, I saw it, a single sheet of paper tucked under her science textbook. I knew I shouldn't snoop, but the bold formatting caught my eye. It was a printed email chain. The names at the top stopped my heart, David and Laura. My hands trembled as I slid the paper free. The emails were from 4 weeks ago, before David left. They discussed meeting spots, a weekend at a lodge, and a dealing with Rachel when the time comes. I sank onto Lily's bed, clutching proof of his betrayal. My 12-year-old had somehow accessed her father's private emails. "How?" "Mom?" Lily's voice startled me. She stood in the doorway, holding her empty dinner plate, watching me with those calm, piercing eyes. No panic, no shame, just quiet assessment. "Lily, where did this come from?" She set her plate down and closed the door. "Dad's terrible with passwords." "How did you?" I stopped, reeling. "How long have you known about Laura?" 7 weeks, she said. "The money?" I figured it out 2 days before he left. 7 weeks. While I'd been clueless, my daughter had carried this weight alone. Nausea hit me. "Why didn't you tell me?" Lily sat beside me, looking younger, more vulnerable for the first time. I needed to be sure. And I wanted to figure out what to do. "Sweetheart, this isn't your job." "Yes, it is," as she said, her voice steady. "He stole my college fund. He lied to us both. Someone had to act." I looked around her room, seeing it anew. Her tidy desk, her unshakable routine, her eerie calm, it all clicked. "What else do you know?" Lily stood, reached under her mattress, and pulled out a small notebook. She handed it to me without a word. The notebook was a maze of handwritten notes, printed screenshots, cryptic diagrams, and lists of numbers that could have been phone numbers or bank accounts. "Lily, what is all this?" I asked, my voice shaking. She sat beside me, her expression calm but intense. Dad thinks he's clever, but he's sloppy. Same password for everything. Never clears his search history. Doesn't even log out of his accounts. I turned page after page. Bank records, text message captures, what looked like flight schedules. My 12-year-old daughter had been spying on her own father. I struggled for words, are incredible and terrifying. Lily's lips quirked. YouTube tutorials, mostly. Cybersecurity's kind of cool once you get the basics. Lily, hacking into someone's accounts, it's illegal. Her eyes, far too old for her age, met mine. So is stealing $80,000 from your kid's college fund. Her matter-of-fact tone sent a shiver through me. This wasn't my little girl anymore. This was someone else, sharp, focused, fearless. What are you going to do with all this? She closed the notebook carefully. I'm still figuring that out. But don't worry, Mom. I've got this handled. That phrase again, the same one she'd used when David walked out. But now it carried a weight that made me question how well I knew her. Show me everything, I said, my voice unsteady. For the first time, Lily hesitated. Mom, some of it's rough. Show me. She opened her laptop and clicked a folder labeled "A Science Project." Inside were subfolders, a bank records, a messages, a fraud evidence. My stomach twisted. It started with Dad's burner phone, Lily said, opening one. He hid it in his sock drawer, but I caught him using it one night when he thought I was asleep. The screen filled with photos she'd snapped through a cracked bedroom door, blurry but clear enough to show David texting on a phone I'd never seen. I got into it when he left it charging in his study. Took me 10 minutes. Her fingers danced across the keyboard with unsettling ease. That's how I found Laura. A window opened, revealing screenshot after screenshot of texts. My husband's words to another woman, calling me a problem to solve, planning a life together, plotting to manage Rachel without losing too much in a divorce. I felt sick. It gets worse, Lily said, clicking another folder. Laura Bennett works at Dad's firm. She manages client portfolios and trusts. You found her job? I found everything. Her address, family, credit score, even her Hulu password. Lily's tone was flat, like she was reciting a book report. She's been skimming from clients for 3 years. The evidence was staggering. Bank transfers from client accounts to personal ones, fake invoices, doctored investment reports. Somehow, Lily had accessed Laura's work computer and documented it all. How did you get into their systems? Laura uses Bennett 2012 for everything, her last name and college graduation year. I got it from her LinkedIn. Lily shrugged, like it was child's play. People are predictable. I stared at this stranger who was my daughter. How did you learn this? YouTube, mostly. Some coding forums. There's a ton out there if you know where to look. She opened another folder, and my world spun again. Bank statements in my name for accounts I'd never opened. Credit applications under Lily's social security number. Loan documents with forged signatures. Mom, Dad didn't just take our money. He's been using our identities for loans. The $80,000 from my college fund? That was just the deposit for a $250,000 loan in my name. What? The word was a whisper. He and Laura are buying a condo in Miami. They used my credit and your job history for the mortgage. Her jaw tightened. They planned to vanish and leave us with a debt. The room tilted. Identity theft. Fraud. David hadn't just left us. He'd torched our financial future to start over with his mistress. But here's the thing, Lily said, a cold edge of satisfaction in her voice. I stopped them before they could close the deal. She opened a folder labeled countermeasures. Inside were official-looking documents, fraud reports filed with credit bureaus, complaints to banking regulators, anonymous tips to Laura's firm. I've been at this for a month, she said. I documented everything, then started unraveling their plans. What do you mean? Laura got suspended from work 2 days ago. Her boss got an anonymous email with proof of her embezzlement. Clients are pulling their accounts. The state's investigating. My jaw dropped. You did that? She stole from retirees saving for their grandkids, Lily said, her voice hard. She had it coming. She showed me more, frozen fraudulent accounts in our names, a flagged and rejected mortgage for the Miami condo, an eviction notice sent to Laura's landlord after a tip about suspicious activity. But the best part, Lily said, clicking a final folder, is what I sent to her dad. Her dad? Dr. Michael Bennett, big shot cardiologist. Cares a lot about his family's reputation. He got a detailed letter about Laura's crimes, with all the evidence. I felt lightheaded. Lily, what have you done? I protected us. She shut the laptop and looked at me, unflinching. Dad thought he could rob us and walk away free. He thought we'd be too weak to fight back. He was wrong. But, sweetheart, going after people like this, it's risky. Riskier than letting them ruin our lives. She stood and crossed to her window, staring out at the twilight. Mom, they didn't just take our money. They took my future. They took your security. They took everything we worked for and handed it to themselves. I watched my 12-year-old daughter, her small silhouette framed against the window, and realized she was right. While I'd been sobbing and leaving voicemails for David, begging him to come back, Lily had been fighting for us. What happens now? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She turned, her face catching the dim glow of her room, looking far older than her years. Now we wait. Laura's world is crumbling, and she doesn't know why yet. When Dad figures out what's happening, he'll lose it. And when people lose it, they slip up. How can you be so calm? Because I'm not the one who needs to be scared anymore, she said, her voice steady. They are. That night, I lay awake, thinking about the girl sleeping down the hall. She'd saved us, but at what price? Who had my daughter become? And more unsettling, what else could she do? Around 1 a.m., I heard it again, the soft, relentless tap of her keyboard, steady and purposeful. Lily was still working, still scheming, still guarding us in ways I couldn't fully grasp. I should have felt grateful. Instead, I felt a chill. The phone rang at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was scrubbing lunch plates in the kitchen when David's name lit up the screen. My hands, still slick with soap, fumbled for the phone, my pulse spiking for reasons I couldn't name. Hello? My voice came out thin. Rachel. David's tone was tight, almost frantic. We need to talk. Something weird's going on. I dried my hands on a towel, glancing toward the living room where Lily was supposedly doing math homework. What kind of weird? My bank called this morning. All my accounts are flagged for suspicious activity. They're frozen pending some federal audit. His words tumbled out, panicked. And Rachel, Laura got fired yesterday. Security marched her out of the office. Lily appeared in the kitchen doorway, still in her school uniform. She poured herself a glass of water, moving deliberately, but I could tell she was listening. I don't see what that has to do with me, I said, keeping my voice even. It's too convenient. First, Laura gets canned over some nonsense embezzlement claim. Now my finances are under investigation. Someone's coming for us, Rachel. Someone with real tech skills. Lily set her glass down and slid into a chair at the kitchen table, opening her laptop with a fluid motion. Her fingers flew across the keys, and her screen glowed with what looked like multiple tabs, data streams, email interfaces. Who would do that? I asked, though dread was already pooling in my gut. That's what I'm trying to figure out, David said. Laura thinks it's someone from her firm, maybe a jealous colleague she turned down, he cut off. What was that? I glanced at Lily. She'd clicked something, and a faint ping had sounded through the phone line. What? I asked. A notification, like someone just logged into my email. His voice pitched higher, pure panic. Rachel, someone's in my system right now. I can see my inbox opening and closing as we speak. Lily's fingers moved like a maestro's, her screen flashing with email windows, financial records, and scrolling data. She was inside his system, watching his every move. David, maybe hang up and call your bank. No, wait. I need to ask you something straight. His tone turned sharp. Rachel, did you hire someone? A hacker, a PI? Because if you did, you need to stop them. This is illegal. Lily glanced up, her eyes meeting mine. She gave a slight shake of her head before returning to her screen. I didn't hire anyone, I said, and it was the truth. Then who? David's voice broke off, replaced by frantic clicking on his end. Someone just sent an email from my account to my boss. Rachel, they're impersonating me right now. What did it say? I don't, it's too fast. His breathing was ragged. They're in my social media now. Posting stuff, bank records, private texts with Laura. Lily minimized one window and opened another. I glimpsed social media feeds and uploaded documents before she tilted the screen away. David, if someone's hacking you, call the police. You think I haven't? They said if the documents are real, it's not hacking, it's whistleblowing. He paused, the realization hitting. Someone's posting real evidence of what we did. My heart sank. He wasn't being framed. Someone had his actual crimes, Rachel. Listen, he said, his voice desperate. The money I took, I was going to pay it back. Laura had this investment deal, guaranteed to triple our money in 6 months. We were going to surprise you and Lily with more than what was there. Lily looked up, her expression shifting, not hurt, not angry, but a cold, calculating focus. She was listening to her father lie about robbing his family, and she was taking it all in. That's not how loans work, David, I said. You don't take someone's money without asking and call it a loan. You don't get it. I was under pressure. Laura's dad was going to cut her off if she didn't prove she could stand on her own. She needed that money for the condo to show him she was serious. So you stole your daughter's college fund to impress your girlfriend's father? It wasn't stealing. His voice cracked. It was an investment in our future. Laura's family has connections. Once her dad approved, he was going to back me to start my own firm. We'd have been rich, Rachel. Rich enough to cover Lily's college 10 times over. Lily snapped her laptop shut and stood. She crossed the kitchen and gently took the phone from my hand. "Hi, Dad," as she said, her voice as calm as a summer day. "Lily, thank God," David stammered. "Someone's doing awful things to me and Laura, making us look like criminals. Tell your mom I'd never steal from you." "Never." "But you did," Lily said, her tone conversational, like she was discussing a homework assignment. "You took $80,000 from my college fund and used it as collateral for a Miami condo mortgage." Silence stretched on the other end for a long moment. "Lily, who told you that?" "Nobody," she said. "I found it myself. Along with the forged loan documents where you used my social security number for extra credit." "That's impossible." "You're 12, David said, his voice trembling with disbelief. "You can't understand this stuff." "I understand you committed identity theft," Lily replied, her tone even. "I understand Laura embezzled from her clients. I understand you both plan to vanish to Miami and leave Mom and me with your debt." "Lily, listen," David pleaded. "Adults make complex financial choices kids can't grasp. What seems wrong to you might. I have proof, Dad. Every email between you and Laura. Every forged document. Every illegal transfer. I've been tracking you for weeks." His breathing grew ragged. "Tracking me? What does that mean?" "It means I know about the burner phone you thought you hid in your desk. I know about the fake accounts Laura set up to hide her stolen money. I know about the condo you tried to buy with my identity." Lily's voice never faltered. "And I know that when the money dried up and Laura got fired, she stopped answering your texts." "How could you know that?" "Because I'm monitoring your communications. I've watched you both unravel, step by step." Lily sat at the kitchen table, still holding the phone, her composure unshaken. "Laura blocked you yesterday after her dad cut her off. She's already moved on to someone new." A sound came through the line, half sob, half scream. "Lily, please," David begged. "I messed up, but I'm still your dad. I love you. I love your mom. I never meant for it to go this far." "You chose her over us," Lily said, her voice calm but cutting. "You chose money over your family. You stole my future for your new life. Actions have consequences. You taught me that when you walked out with your duffel bag." "Lily, I'm begging you. Whatever you've done, whatever you know, stop. I have nothing left. I'm sleeping in my car because I can't pass a credit check for an apartment. I can't get a job because every background check flags fraud." Lily's eyes met mine, steady and unyielding. "You taught me something else, Dad," she said. "The people who are supposed to protect you sometimes don't. So you protect yourself." With that, she ended the call. The silence was deafening. Lily set the phone on the counter and looked at me with those calm, piercing eyes. "He won't call again," as she said, matter-of-fact. "How do you know?" "Because he knows I'm watching. And he knows I'll see every move he makes." She grabbed her laptop and headed to her room. "I've got homework." I stood alone in the kitchen, grasping the reality that my 12-year-old had dismantled her father's life with the precision of a surgeon, and he'd earned every bit of it. I lingered there long after Lily disappeared upstairs, staring at the phone. My daughter had taken down a grown man with the same cool efficiency most kids use to solve math problems. Part of me wanted to feel guilty, to storm into her room and demand she undo her digital campaign. But a stronger part, a part one barely recognized, felt fierce pride. My 12-year-old had shielded us when I couldn't shield myself. The next morning, Lily appeared at breakfast, looking like any other middle schooler. She ate her toast, checked her backpack, and kissed my cheek goodbye, as if she hadn't spent the previous night dismantling two adults' lives. "Lily, hold on," I said, catching her arm gently by the door. "Are you okay?" She tilted her head, studying me with that serious gaze I'd come to know too well. "I'm fine, Mom." "Why wouldn't I be?" "Because of yesterday. That was intense, with your dad." "What about it?" Her calm unnerved me. "Honey, you had a heavy conversation with him. It's okay to feel upset or confused." "I'm not upset," she said, adjusting her backpack. "I'm relieved. He knows I know what he did, and he knows there are consequences for stealing from us." "Don't you miss him, even a little?" She paused, hand on the doorknob. "I missed the dad I thought he was. But that guy wasn't real, was he? Just a role he played when it suited him." Her clinical detachment chilled me. Where was the hurt, the longing for her father to come back and make things right? "Lily, I think you should talk to someone, a counselor, to process this." "I'm not having big emotions, Mom. I'm having the right ones." She opened the door. "But if it makes you feel better, I'll talk to someone." After she left for school, I called our pediatrician. Dr. Lopez suggested a child psychologist, Dr. Eleanor Carter, who specialized in family trauma and gifted kids. Gifted children often process things differently, a Dr. Lopez explained. They might intellectualize emotions instead of feeling them typically. Dr. Carter could see Lily the following week, but in the meantime, I watched my daughter like she was a code I needed to crack. She kept her routine: school, homework, helping with chores, but I noticed subtle shifts. She'd taken over our finances, creating detailed budgets tracking our dwindling income and forecasting expenses for the year. She'd researched pro bono legal services and compiled a binder on divorce proceedings and asset recovery. "Mom, you need to file for divorce now," she told me one evening as I sorted bills at the kitchen table. "Every day you delay gives the time to hide more assets or rack up debt in your name. Lily, these are adult problems. You don't need to, as someone has to," as she said, sitting across from me. "You're grieving, which makes sense, but it's not helping right now. I'm not, so I can think clearly about what's next." Her blunt assessment of my mental state stung because it was true. I'd been drowning in denial, hoping this would somehow fix itself. Lily was the one taking real steps to secure our future. Dr. Carter's office was painted in calming greys and blues, with vibrant kid-drawn artwork on one wall. I expected Lily to be uneasy about her first therapy session, but she walked into Dr. Carter's office like she was attending a debate club meeting. "Lily, I'm Dr. Carter," the psychologist said warmly. "Your mom thought it might help to talk about the changes in your family." "That's fine," Lily said, sitting straight. "I know this is probably required after what I did to my dad." Dr. Carter's eyebrows lifted, clearly caught off guard by the bluntness of a 12-year-old. "Can you tell me about that?" For the next 45 minutes, Lily laid out the entire saga with eerie calm. She described uncovering David's affair, cataloguing his financial crimes, and methodically dismantling his and Laura's lives. She spoke like she was presenting a science project, her voice devoid of emotion, just facts. "How did that make you feel?" Dr. Carter asked. Satisfied, Lily said without hesitation. He stole from me, so I made sure he faced consequences. It felt right. Do you ever feel sad about your dad leaving? I'm sad he turned out to be someone who'd rob his own kid. But I'm not sad about him dealing with the results of that choice. When the session ended, Dr. Carter asked to speak with me alone while Lily waited in the lobby. Mrs. Thompson, your daughter is exceptional, as she began cautiously. Her intelligence and resilience are off the charts. But is that healthy? I asked. Should a kid be able to do what she did without guilt or trauma? Dr. Carter leaned forward. Trauma responses vary, especially in gifted children. Lily's faced profound betrayal, but she's processed it in a highly functional way. Some kids collapse under this kind of family breakdown. Others, especially analytical ones like Lily, take control to regain stability. So she's okay? More than okay. She's adapted. The question is whether you're okay with who she's becoming. That evening, I found Lily at her desk, but her laptop wasn't open to hacking tools or surveillance software. Instead, she was working on a Word document titled Protecting Your Family's Finances, a guide to spotting fraud. What's this, honey? I asked. A manual for kids whose parents might be stealing from them, and for adults who don't know how to catch financial fraud, as she said, scrolling to reveal sections on password security, spotting forged documents, and safeguarding personal data. The document was polished, clear, and thorough, something you'd expect from a professional, not a 12-year-old. Lily, this is amazing. Where'd you learn to write like this? I've been researching fraud for weeks, as she said. It's more common than you'd think. Mrs. Larson at school asked me to present it to the PTA next month. 4 other families in our district have had issues with missing money or identity theft. I stared at the screen, reading her practical, step-by-step advice. She wasn't just coping with David's betrayal, she was turning it into a tool to help others. How do you feel about presenting to adults? Nervous, but ready, as she said. Most people don't realize how easy it is to protect yourself if you know the signs. She closed her laptop and looked at me, serious. Mom, can I ask you something? Of course. Are you ashamed of what I did to Dad? The question hit like a punch. Ashamed? Lily, you saved us. You protected our family when I couldn't. But you've been looking at me differently, like you're scared of me. I sat on her bed, choosing my words carefully. I'm not scared of what you did. I'm worried about what it cost you. What you pulled off was incredible, but it forced you to become tougher than any kid should have to be. Do you think I'm broken? No, I said instantly, with absolute certainty. I think you're stronger than I ever dreamed. But that strength came at a cost, and I want to make sure you're okay with who you're becoming. Lily leaned against me, and for a moment, she felt like my little girl again, not the fierce strategist she'd become. I don't feel broken, Mom. I feel like I finally see how the world works. And knowing that means I can protect myself. What about protecting others? That's why I'm writing the guide. If I can help other families avoid what we went through, then something good came out of Dad's choices. That night, as I tucked her in, she asked one final question that broke my heart and swelled it with pride. Do you think Dad ever really loved us? I think he loved the idea of us, I said. But when loving us got hard, he chose himself. That's what I figured, as she said, pulling her stuffed bear closer. Good night, Mom. Good night, sweetheart. I switched off her light and lingered in the hallway, replaying Dr. Carter's words. Maybe Lily wasn't damaged. Maybe she was exactly who she needed to be to navigate a world where trust could be shattered. Maybe I wasn't raising a broken child, but an extraordinary young woman who'd use her strength to shield others as she'd shielded us. 6 months later, I was shelving books in the children's section of the Willow Creek Library when my supervisor, Karen, approached, looking uneasy. "Rachel, there's a reporter here asking about Lily," she whispered, glancing toward the front desk where a woman in a sharp blazer stood with a notebook. My stomach dropped. "What kind of reporter?" "She's investigating the Laura Bennett fraud case. Says someone tipped her off that the whistleblower might be local." I walked to the desk, legs unsteady. The reporter smiled and extended her hand. "Mrs. Thompson, I'm Claire Donovan from Channel 9 News. I'm following up on the Bennett financial fraud scandal. I understand your ex-husband was involved." "I can't comment on that," I said quickly. "The story's gone national," as she pressed. "Laura Bennett faces federal charges, and more victims have come forward. Whoever provided the evidence was meticulous. We'd love to thank them." After she left, I drove home to our modest apartment, hands trembling on the wheel. Lily was at the kitchen table, working on a science worksheet. "A reporter came to the library today about the Laura Bennett case," I said carefully. "She didn't look up. They'll never trace it to me. I used 7 proxy servers and cryptocurrency for all the anonymous accounts," Lily said, her voice steady as she worked through a math problem. "It's fine, Mom. The more attention the case gets, the more victims will come forward." She moved to the next question. "I've been tracking the news. 15 other families have reported Laura's fraudulent schemes to the authorities." The casual way she discussed sparking a nationwide financial crime investigation still floored me. My daughter had triggered a federal probe protecting dozens of families, and she spoke about it like a successful book report. 3 weeks later, Lily received an email that shifted everything. A tech company, Safeguard Solutions, had somehow uncovered her real identity and offered her a spot in their youth innovation program. "They are offering a full college scholarship and a job after graduation," Lily said, showing me the formal letter on her laptop. "Starting salary of $130,000. I stared at the figures. "Lily, this is life-changing." "I know." She closed the laptop decisively. "I'm turning it down." "What? Why?" "They want to own my work. They'd have me build security software that profits off fear instead of protecting people." She walked to the window of our small living room. "Besides, I already have a job." She pulled a business card from her backpack, sleek and professional. "L. Thompson, Family Financial Security Consultant. I've been helping families recover from fraud for the past month. I have 7 clients now, paying $80 an hour." I studied the card's crisp design, stunned. "Lily, you're 13. How are you running a business?" "Age doesn't matter online. My clients think I'm an adult cybersecurity expert specializing in family protection." She opened a spreadsheet showing her earnings. In 1 month, she'd made more than I earned in 4 months at the library. "What do you do for them?" "I help families spot financial red flags, secure their accounts, and recover stolen funds. Last week, I helped a couple in Michigan reclaim $25,000 their brother siphoned from their parents' savings." "Is it legal?" "Completely. I teach people to protect themselves and file reports with the authorities when crimes occur." She minimized the spreadsheet. "I'm also speaking at a cybersecurity conference next month, as L. Thompson, via encrypted video, so my age won't matter. That evening, I read about the Laura Bennett case online. It had gone viral, shared across social media and covered by major news outlets. Comments ranged from fury over the fraud to admiration for the anonymous whistleblower. One thread stood out, dozens of people sharing stories of family financial betrayal, parents stealing from kids, spouses hiding assets, relatives exploiting seniors. Lily's actions had unleashed a wave of truth. No one suspected the whistleblower was a 12-year-old girl. 2 months into our new life, Lily asked a question that stopped me cold. We were washing dishes after dinner, and I nearly dropped a mug. "Mom, do you think Dad ever regrets what he did?" It was the first time she'd mentioned David in weeks. "I don't know, honey." "Why?" "I've been checking his social media. He posts about new beginnings and better choices, but never mentions us. I wondered if he gets what he lost. What do you think?" She dried a plate carefully. Regret is just feeling sorry for yourself when consequences hit. It's not the same as understanding why you were wrong. Do you want him to regret it? No. I want him to understand, but I don't think he's capable. She hung the dish towel neatly, closing the topic like a file. Spring brought a warmth that felt like renewal. Lily's consulting business grew, and she began creating free resources, checklists, fraud warning guides, and step-by-step instructions for reporting financial crimes. "I want to start a non-profit when I'm 18, as she told me one evening, working on her latest project, a free protection service for families who couldn't afford consultants. It started with what Dad did, but it's bigger now. So many families are hurt by people they trust." One evening in late spring, I overheard Lily on a video call in her room. I paused outside her door, catching her gentle voice. "I know it's scary finding out your dad's been draining your college fund," as she said, "but you're going to be okay. I'll help you protect what's left and make sure it doesn't happen again." She was talking to another teen, likely someone whose family had been shattered like ours. Lily had become a beacon for kids betrayed by their parents. "The most important thing," as she continued, "is that this isn't your fault. Adults are supposed to protect kids, not rob them. When they don't, we have to protect ourselves." I stepped away, tears in my eyes, not from grief, but from overwhelming pride. David had tried to break us, but he'd forged something unbreakable. Lily had turned her pain into purpose, her betrayal into a mission to shield others. The next morning, she appeared at breakfast, looking like any other 8th grader. But I knew better. Beneath that ordinary exterior was someone extraordinary, who'd taken the worst moment of her life and transformed it into a force for good. "You ready for school?" I asked, kissing her forehead. "Always," as she said, slinging her backpack over her shoulder. "Oh, and Mom? I love you." "I love you too, sweetheart." As she walked to the bus stop, I realized David's betrayal hadn't destroyed us. It had revealed our strength. Lily hadn't just won justice, she'd reclaimed her future and was using it to secure the futures of countless others. David could keep whatever scraps of his new life remained. We'd built something far greater from the ruins he left behind: hope. And Lily was sharing it with the world.